All right, 3.5 million homes are still seriously underwater. The most recent report from Adam Data Solutions. Welcome to Housing Bubble 2.0 News of the Week, or as I like to call it, another episode of As the Housing Market Turns. I'm Randy Patrick, putting the realism back in real estate. Today is November the 8th, and yes, it's a Sunday, so what should you be doing? Yard work, watching football, hanging with the family. Exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing videos today. Okay, I'm catching up on stuff. I'll be out of the office all day tomorrow. So basically, I want to get this out of the way because clearly there's a lot of other news that's taking our attention going on right now in the world of politics, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, today we're going to get into the Adam Data Solutions third quarter equity and underwater homes report. But first of all, if you're not already a subscriber, if you could please help my channel grow and smash that subscribe button, I would really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so basically, end of the week, we had a report that comes out every quarter from Adam Data Solutions. And this just gives you a quick little title here. It shows that equity-rich homes outnumber those seriously underwater by nearly 5 to 1. So you have an equity-rich component, and we have an underwater component, and then we have everything in the middle. So we're going to go over that right now. So Adam Data Solutions does put out this information on a quarterly basis. And, back in the day, the last housing crisis, it was, 15 million homes were underwater. And now, this is, that's, 2000, where it was 9, 10 when they started doing this. And now here we are to, 2020, and we've got 3.5 million homes underwater. And to me, that's residual. What I mean by that is these are homes that never really recovered from the last housing crisis, and or maybe a few are having some problems these days. But that's kind of the scoop now. So this is really, I guess they have a third quarter report. It's the third quarter 2020 U.S. home equity underwater report. And the highlights of this showed that 16.7 million residential properties in the U.S. were considered equity rich, meaning that the combined estimated loans secured by those properties was 50% or less of their estimated market value. So, for example, your home is worth $200,000, but your loan balance is only $75,000. Okay, so your loan balance is less than 50% of the market value. That means you are equity rich, which is pretty cool. So we got 16.7 million homes that are in that situation. All right, but just to go from the other perspective here, so we have equity rich, we also have underwater. So the report also shows that just 3.5 million, or 1 in 17 mortgaged homes in the third quarter of 2020, were considered seriously underwater, with a combined estimated balance of loans secured by the property of at least 25% more than the property's estimated market value. For example, say your home is worth $125,000. Sorry. Your home was only worth $100,000 in the open market. Your mortgage balance would be $125,000. So you are underwater, and you're now in that seriously underwater category if you're more than 25%. So what that would mean, if you sold your home today for market value of $100,000, you'd have to bring, a loan balance of $25,000 plus closing costs, commissions, whatever else is going with the transaction to get rid of that property, which we know most people aren't going to be doing that in this day and age with how the economy and job losses are going. Now, I want to make sure I point this out here, that this is seriously underwater, okay, which means 25% more debt than what your home is worth. So there still are underwater homes that they don't really count here, and we don't know where those are at. So from 1% to 24%, over leveraged, we don't know what that count is. So it's always a bit ambiguous. Just realize that the figure of 3.5 million represents 6% of all properties with a mortgage, down from 6.2% the prior quarter, and 6.5% a year ago. So really, it's not really dropping that much. It's kind of hanging around. It's just one of those things that where we seem to always have this number. I mean, it was 5 million for a couple years ago. Then magically it went down to from 5 million to 3.5 million in a matter of 1 or 2 quarters. Property values are up. People are also probably selling property, refi, whatever. So it's changing some of the dynamics that are out there. Among the 50 states, 49 showed a quarterly increase in the percentage of homes considered equity rich, while just 7 showed increases in the percentage that were seriously underwater. 6 of the 7 rose by less than 1 percentage point. All right, which is interesting. So what people are saying, though, and this is the chief product officer, is basically that and I like why I like Adam is that even though we know they're a data company and they support the pro housing stuff, they at least are making points saying things are good now, but we can't forget about that the housing with the foundation under the housing market still shaky. As the coronavirus remains a threat, we will continue to monitor closely the various metrics, including equity. But as it's been throughout the pandemic, the market is strong and homeowners remain in a position to benefit. So what does benefiting mean? Benefiting means selling now and you're cashing out. That's great. Or benefiting is you've got this equity, you're going to refi and take some of that equity out and use it, and that's a benefit to you as well. So if you're sitting on equity, you might want to figure out what to do with it. Now, the New England area shows the biggest gains in improvement. All right. So for the 10 states with the biggest gains in share of equity-rich homes, we're in New England. The top 5 were Vermont, Maine, South Dakota, New Hampshire, and Idaho. Those are the those are the groups that are the top 5 that showed the biggest increase in equity rich. All right, as you can see, we got 39 from we got a lot. I guess here I'm looking at the numbers here though. So the top 5 where the level of homes considered equity rich rose from 39.1% to 45.1. Maine went up 27.5 to 27.6 to 33.5. South Dakota up 25.1 to 30.3. New Hampshire up 22.6 to 26.7. Idaho up 35.4 to 39.5. Pretty interesting. Now, states where the share of equity-rich homes decreased or went up by the smallest amounts were California, Maryland, Florida, Nevada, and Illinois. So, I look at those 5 states here: California, Maryland, Florida, Nevada, Illinois. And to me, those are states that have higher default rates and have a lot of FHA problems going on, and California obviously being highly overvalued. And I look back historically, those were basically how can I put it? Those are states that got hit pretty hard in the last housing crisis. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the little bit of equity that came through. Largest declines in underwater properties across the Midwest and South. So basically, 8 of the 10 states with the biggest declines in the percentage of homes considered seriously underwater were in the Midwest and South. They were led by Mississippi and South Dakota, Indiana, Iowa, and Connecticut. All right. States where the percentage of seriously underwater homes rose in the third quarter were California, Colorado, Nevada, Virginia, and Florida. So California up, about almost a percentage point. Colorado up, fractions of a percentage. Nevada up a fraction. Virginia up a fraction, and Florida up, again, 0.1 of a point. So yes, we see some movement in seriously underwater homes, but again, that's not really increasing too much because we still have property appreciation going on. So certain states and certain locations are going to level out. Some may drop a bit. And this is where we're at. So right now, if you look at these reports, the signal is we don't see problems from an equity perspective and from a value perspective, but realize that where we are today with eviction moratoriums and foreclosure sale moratoriums and lack of foreclosure processing, which means lower inventory causing prices to go up and be competitive, and the fact that we're not seeing additional homes come on the market to add to the inventory, and also distressed homes coming on the market, which would provide lower prices to bring some of the values down. So we're not seeing that. You know what I say, the market right now is sort of an artificial situation. It's being controlled, and you got to understand that. The Northeast and the West continue to have the largest share of equity homes. Midwest and the South have the lowest amount of equity homes, I guess you could say. The 10 states with the lowest percentage of equity-rich properties in the third quarter were led by Illinois, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Alabama and Arkansas. So they have the lowest percentage of that. It's just metro areas with the lowest percentage of equity-rich properties in the third quarter were Baton Rouge, Columbia, South Carolina, Little Rock, Arkansas, Akron, Ohio, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we can see that there's markets that don't have a huge amount of equity. All right, you got top 11 states with the highest share of equity-rich properties in the third quarter were all in the Northeast and West, led by Vermont, California, Hawaii, Washington, and Idaho. So we know that you got West Coast stuff. Hawaii is always high up there, and you got Idaho, which really to me is a relocation state. People are leaving, possibly Oregon and California, relocating to Idaho, where prices are being pushed up. So we have to understand that there's always a reason why things are taking place and why numbers are changing. Again, they look at counties as well too here. I'll put the link in the information section of the video. But counties with the highest share of equity-rich properties were San Francisco County, Washington County, Wisconsin, Santa Clara County, California, which is the San Jose area, San Mateo County, California, which is outside San Fran, and Dukes County, which is Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, which really is an exclusive, island community off the coast of Massachusetts. Counties with the smallest share were of I guess you could say equity rich were Hope County, North Carolina, Vernon Parish, Louisiana, Hampton City County, Virginia. We got Columbia County, Arkansas, and Bossier Parish, Louisiana. So they had the least amount of equity in those counties. At least half of the properties were equity rich in 379 zip codes. All right, so obviously when we take a look at 17 of the top 20 counties were in California, mostly in the San Francisco Bay Area. They were led by specific zip codes in San Fran, Sunnyvale, California, and San Jose. So San Francisco area, Silicon Valley, tech area, whoever, that's where the money is. So that's where the most equity-rich zip codes are. Highest seriously underwater shares remain in the South and the Midwest. And what they're saying is the fact that the top 15 states with the highest shares of mortgages that were seriously underwater in the third quarter were in the South and Midwest, led again by Louisiana, West Virginia, Mississippi, Iowa, and Arkansas. And when you've got metro areas that have a population greater than 500,000 that had the highest share of mortgages underwater, you've got Baton Rouge, Youngstown, Ohio, Syracuse, New York, Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Cleveland, Ohio. Again, a lot of these cities and these locations have always been in the top 10, top 20, or leaders with respect to the underwater homes. And as I said earlier, it's just they've not recovered from where it was prior in the last housing crisis, and in certain locations, like I look at, say, the Mississippi, Louisiana area, they've been battered by repeated storms for the past couple of years. So they've had some other environmental disasters or tragedies that have not probably helped recovery, have not helped build up equity and things like that. So that's just the nature of what goes on across the U.S. At least 25% of all properties were seriously underwater in 115 zip codes. The largest number of those zip codes were found in the Cleveland, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan, and St. Louis, Missouri area. Obviously, top 5 zip codes with the highest share of seriously underwater properties were one zip code in Paradise, California, where I don't know where that is, but 70.2% underwater. That's huge. Cleveland, Ohio, Trenton, New Jersey, Huntington, West Virginia, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So interesting how that distribution, but I'd like to understand where that Paradise, I'll look it up afterwards, Paradise, California zip code is. All right, top 10 counties with the highest share of equity-rich property. So we've got, the little bar graph here. So you got San Fran County, Washington County, Wisconsin, Santa Clara County, California, San Mateo County, California, Dukes County, Massachusetts, Ravalli County, Montana, Nantucket County, Massachusetts, Kings County, New York. It's high. Kings County has a lot of also pre-foreclosures as well, but they've got a lot of equity, which is interesting. Looks like Chittenden County, Vermont, and Teton County, Wyoming. So again, out in you got some good places out in the sort of prairie areas there, which is interesting. Take a look at this one. This is our top 10 counties with the highest share of seriously underwater properties. So we're looking at Vernon County, Louisiana, Columbia County, Arkansas, Russell County, Alabama, Schoharie County, New York, Cable County, West Virginia, Starr County, Texas, Webster County, Louisiana, Dougherty County, Georgia, Lynchburg County, Virginia, and Pulaski County, Missouri. All right. So when you take a look at, you got the bottom there, almost 30% up to 48.5%. So counties with the highest share of underwater properties, it's pretty significant. So you wonder what goes on in those counties, what's transpired to have them with such high underwater properties. Is it the location? Are they the recipient of again, hurricanes or floods or disasters that cause some problems? Are they in locations where there's been poor economic issues, where they've had major job losses or industry leaving, etc. So there's always a reason. So it's just interesting to see that some of these locations have a significant amount. So wonder what's going on, and that's maybe something worthwhile to investigate. Now, when we take a look at this, this is kind of your little map. So National Mortgage News put this map up, and you can see it. That's the source is Adam Data Solutions. So you can see if you go to the West Coast, if you go to, you look at Seattle and Oregon and California and all those areas up there, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, you can see Colorado, you can see that they got very, very little underwater mortgage, as well as Alaska, as well as Hawaii. Texas surprised me. So Texas, of course, has been growing, and they're not underwater. Like a place like Texas didn't experience the massive, upswings and declines in the last housing crisis. They've maintained pretty well. Then you've got your light blue, which is Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, and West Virginia. So that's your problem states. Like for example, Florida's always had a lot of underwater homes, and I was surprised to see there's only 5%. Now, 5% being underwater, we still have a ton of defaults in Florida. If you go around the rest of the country, you can see how that kind of everything kind of is in that sort of 8, 6, 7, 8 area. A couple in the 10s, double digits there, 11%, whatever. But the point is, as time goes on, from 15 million underwater properties back in the last housing crisis to where we are today at 3.5, that's been a significant decrease, and there should be no surprise, because that should be happening in an appreciating, improving marketplace here. So, but I look at it going, there's still 3.5 million there. So if the market was fab, we'd have 1 million or less. So there's still a lot out there. There's still locations where, the concentration is probably due to a number of economic and local, we'll call it physical issues that have happened in those states like Louisiana, Mississippi. Iowa, I'm not too sure what's happened in Iowa. West Virginia, I know that's always been sort of economically depressed, but Iowa, I'm not sure whether it's just a job loss or it's manufacturing that's been declined over the time. I'm not too sure. But again, you can sort of see how that sort of works its way out. So the point is, yes, we see through Case-Shiller, we see through National Association of Realtor reports, we see through Adam Data Solutions that equity is slowly growing. As a result of that, people are selling if they can, or what they really are doing is they're refinancing and they're pulling money out of their property. So they're using that equity for home improvement or other things as well. But they're pulling money out, cash out refis. There's a lot going on right now. Refis are the number one. There's more refi applications than there are purchase applications going on right now. And again, if people are trying to cash out, possibly the price points of properties are unattainable for the average wage earner in the state. They've talked about that many times. We've seen reports on that. But at least it goes to show you where the distribution is. Some states, as I said, like a Florida that's looking good, and maybe it looks like New York, the New York area is only 4.3%, but I know in Jersey 6.7%. So not too much underwater, but we know that the defaults are increasing big time there, as well as the FHA delinquencies and stuff. So I think this is just, we're kind of in a limbo status quo right now. We'll probably have the same levels, if not less, underwater for the fourth quarter. Once the new year hits and things open up with eviction moratoriums and more foreclosure sales hitting, we'll probably see differences on a going forward basis. All right. So that's the scoop. So what's my point? So yes, I'm always trying to make a point in my video. What's the point? The point is, don't get a false sense of where the housing market is headed. I'm saying this right now. People ask a lot of questions as to where it's headed. Everything is stable. The market is being controlled, artificially controlled, because of moratoriums on evictions and foreclosure sales. Just because of low interest rates, because of FHA loans offering for lower credit score people and biting off more than you can chew and things like that. So it is what it is out there right now. So I think it's just we're in this false sense of security that things are going to keep going up, and I think we as a general public can only afford so much. Why I say that there's two housing narratives in play: K-shaped housing market. You need to understand your market. We're seeing the part of the K that's going up right now. We haven't seen the bottom of the K. How can I put it? The bottom of the K coming, back towards us. All right, off markets where you want to look, distressed properties, shadow inventories, foreclosures are starting to pick up now. So as much as we don't talk about them, they are starting to pick up, and there's more homes that are being scheduled for foreclosure auction, sort of quietly under the radar. If most people aren't looking for this, and I'll tell you right now, your real estate agent's probably not going to talk to you about this because they don't know how. No offense to real estate agents out there, but when it comes down to it, very few of them actually deal with this marketplace and help their clients in that respect. As well, as I said here, I'm just reiterating the obvious. Foreclosures starting to pick up, and what I mean by that is this is the distressed homes, the shadow inventory. This is where the deals are to be found. So if you're looking to buy a primary residence, or you're looking to do real estate investment and get your hands in the game before things get out of control, you may want to inquire with me in the next little while. Okay. So as I mentioned, you need to contact me for a consultation to find out what I'm talking about. Different methods to acquire property. I recently became aware of something that makes our process even easier, which I'm very excited about. So again, reach out to me and we can chat. How do you get a hold of me? There is my email address right there. Send me your information along with your phone number. We'll schedule a call and we'll go over stuff. All right. Once again, thanks for the views, likes, comments. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We look forward to speaking with you next week. Thank you.